This week, we're talking about confidence. Confidence is one of those things that can completely change our lives. When you have it, doors open for you. People actually listen and pay attention to you. And it's just so powerful that you feel like you can handle anything that comes your way. But when you don't have it, everything feels harder. Even the smallest things feel impossible. And I know this because I've been on both sides. Something that I always say is confidence is a mindset. It is not something that is put into a person at birth, like you get to be confident, you don't. It doesn't work like that. It is a skill, and just like every other skill, you can build it. And it all starts in the mind. I've actually made a video before on building a confidence mindset. Make sure to check it out. But in this video, I'm gonna be more specific. I'm gonna be talking about the 6 things that I do in my daily life that took me from having to painfully hide in the background to showing up fully as my confident self. So let's get into it. The first thing that I want to talk about is getting to know myself. And I would say this is probably the most important thing for me. I'm not talking about taking yourself out on a solo date or treating yourself to things or places. These are all important. But here I'm talking about that time of the day where you actually get to learn about yourself, reflect and connect with yourself. And for me, this is my nighttime routine. My nighttime routine usually lasts from an hour to 1.5 hours. And this routine is sacred for me, where I sit there, talk to myself, talk to God, and journal. And that little time that I have in my day from all of the rush of everyday things, when I take that small time for myself, that is something that has really helped me with my confidence. And let me tell you how this connects to confidence. When I'm actually protecting and prioritizing that time just for myself, I'm actually telling myself that I respect myself and my needs matter. I'm worthy of good treatment. And this treatment makes me realize my worth without needing any external validation. And there's also a ripple effect. When you throw a stone in the water, it creates ripples. This is something like that. That is what happens when you build a strong relationship and connection with yourself. It might seem like a small habit, but it creates a ripple effect. When I'm connected with myself, I feel more grounded. I feel less anxious and less needy. And something about having a strong relationship with yourself is that people can sense that. There is something so magnetic about someone who is centered. You don't really have to say anything. People can sense that energy. So when you take care of your inner world, you'll be surprised to see how much that changes your outer world. The second thing is when I stop labeling myself. I used to put myself under certain labels like I'm shy, I'm awkward, I am slow, no one wants to listen to me. And I really believed those things. And it was not because someone directly told them to me, but because of how I interpreted the world around me. You know how as children, we really want validation from our dads, right? Like if we did something and we showed it to our dad and he said it was good, that means we feel validated and we're like, okay, I actually feel confident. And this is how it was with me and my siblings. My dad is a great listener. He sits there and listens to everything that we have to say. Even if it was the stupidest thing, he will just sit there and listen. And here's the thing. My brother is actually very smart and he knows a lot. But when we were children, when I used to talk to my dad would sit there and listen to me, listen to everything that I have to say. He'll be interested. But I noticed that when he talked to my brother, the conversations were more deeper and he had questions to ask to my brother. Even though he used to listen to and engage in conversations with me, somehow I started developing labels for myself. I started thinking that I wasn't as interesting, or maybe I didn't have anything to offer. And I started labeling myself as I'm not smart, I'm not intelligent. And I actually started believing these labels, and these labels became my identity. But here's the truth that I wish I knew back then, and something that I want you to know is that these labels that we put on ourselves, right? It's not that you're good or bad at something. It's just that the things that you're good at, you've taken the time and effort to practice it for a long time. That's why you're good at it. And the things that you're bad at, it's not that you're bad at it. It's just that you haven't taken the time and effort to practice it as much. And you know what's kind of funny is that we expect our reality to be different when these are the things that we literally tell ourselves. We tell ourselves, I'm not confident, I'm not attractive, I'm not smart. And then we expect life to show us anything different than that. I don't get how that works. What we repeatedly tell ourselves becomes our thoughts, and our thoughts become our beliefs, and the beliefs are what shapes our reality. So if we want a different reality, we want to be confident, attractive, and smart, we gotta start by telling those things to ourselves. And when I realized this, I stopped putting these labels on myself. I started saying, I am intelligent, I am smart, and people want to listen to what I have to say. And you know what? My reality started shifting. Before in my family, I used to feel like no one wants to listen to what I have to say, or no one wants to know my opinion. But now in the same house, before any serious decision is being made, everyone wants to know what does Amal have to say about this, because my opinions are considered wise and valid. And I'm telling you this because once you stop putting these labels on yourself, you will start to see how your reality is going to shift. And the third thing that I did was conscious consumption. I started consciously curating the content that I consume online. What I mean is that I only watch people who are confident and empowering, and people who align with the most confident version of myself. And this is not just a nice habit to follow, but this is actually backed by psychology. I will explain it to you using the social learning theory. I'm not going to go into the depth of it, but I'll explain it to you just so that we can understand this better. We learn behaviors by watching and observing other people. And there's 4 stages to this: attention, retention, reproduction, and motivation. So attention is basically, so when we watch these people, we're giving attention to their confidence, charisma, boldness, whatever. Retention is our brain starts to store that. Reproduction is when you start to reflect that behavior. Whether conscious or not, we start to mirror that behavior. And motivation is when we start reflecting this behavior and we start to get positive results out of it, we are motivated to keep up with that behavior. So we're going to do it again. So this is how watching and observing confident people can have an effect on your confidence as well. So every reel that we watch, every podcast that we listen to, these are not just entertainment. Our brain is quietly learning through it. And this works both ways too. Just like we can absorb confidence, we can also absorb insecurity. So if we're watching people who pity themselves, talk down on themselves, who are negative, complaining, all these things, slowly we're going to absorb that energy as well. And that's why curating your feed or whatever you consume online is just as important as curating your real life environment. And this process of watching confident people and becoming confident is only happening if you have a strong connection with yourself. This is why I want to highlight the first thing that we talked about, because when someone who is deeply disconnected with themselves, when they start watching these confident people, they don't feel inspired. They feel triggered. So instead of learning from that person, they start comparing themselves and start developing jealousy and resentment. So this is why in the 4 stages of learning, attention and retention is happening. But when it comes to reproduction, this is where the person's internal beliefs come to play. So if the person believes that, they're not capable of that, they can never change, they can never grow, and that's just not for me, then nothing is going to change. Watching confident people is only going to trigger them. So for this to really work, you really have to do the inner work. And the 4th one, this is actually my favorite thing, saying I don't know. When I don't know something, I just say I don't know. I don't know. Could you tell me more about it? And sometimes it can be a hard thing to do, right? Because the problem is we have the need to pretend like we know everything because we are afraid of judgment. Because if we say, I don't know, the other person might think, oh, you don't know about it? Like they might think in their head, okay, is this person dumb? Like, how is this person dumb? We're so afraid of that judgment, so we have the need to pretend like we know things. But when I'm in a conversation, when I hear something that I don't know, I say, I don't know. Could you tell me more about it? I would like to know more about it. And when you can say that, that shows that you are comfortable with yourself. And it's so freeing, and that freedom is confidence. And asking these questions helps us grow, and we're all about that growth mindset. Most people associate confidence with having all the answers, but true confidence is no longer having to attach your worth to how much you know, and the ability to say, I don't know, but I'd love to learn. The next thing might seem small, but it is one of the biggest things that has helped me become more confident, is slowing down, especially in moments where I used to rush. For example, if someone asks me for a pen, I'd be like, oh, where's my pen? Where's my pen? Like I stopped panicking, but now I realize it's not about being helpful. It's not that I want to quickly help them, but it's just that subconscious belief that I had that I didn't deserve to take up space or time. And this showed up even in bigger moments. When I was in college, I was the head of the union, and that means I had to speak at every event that happened in the college. And in the beginning, I used to rush through all of my speeches because I was like, no one here wants to listen to me. Everyone is here for the event. Even though I had 10 full minutes to speak, I would just rush through it and finish it in 3 just because I felt so uncomfortable taking up time. But now I've learned to slow down, I've learned to take my time, because when we rush, we are unconsciously telling ourselves and others that I'm a burden. And I've actually seen other people do this as well, the same pattern, rushing through things and over apologizing just to avoid being a burden. If you can relate to it, then I want to tell you that you deserve to take up space, you deserve to take up time, and people want to listen to you. So you don't have to rush, take your time with things. And the last thing is something that I do on days when I don't feel confident at all, because we all have those days, right? When we just feel like nothing is working. And on days like that, usually I just let myself be. It's not like every every single day we have to be confident. There are gonna be days when we're not just able to do it. But some days I'm not feeling confident, but I have somewhere to be, or I have to show up somewhere. On those days, what really helps me is my playlist. I have certain songs that I listen to before I go to that place, and these are songs that uplift me, put me in such a good mood, make me feel confident, empowered. And I also listen to superhero soundtracks, especially the Avengers theme song. I always listen to it, and when I listen to it, I actually feel like a superhero, and I feel like, okay, I'm ready to fight this. So I would definitely recommend doing something like that, because that can instantly lift you up. I really want to talk about affirmations too in this video, because when you're in the beginning of building your confidence, affirmations can really help. Initially, I used to listen to affirmations on Spotify, YouTube, but then what I really found which was helpful for me was creating affirmations in my own voice. So I have these different affirmations created for different needs, and these are all in my voice, and this one is for confidence. So I have these for different things as well. This is something that really worked for me in the beginning. And I also asked one of my clients when I was coaching to try this out as well, because she said that, she really wanted to work on her confidence. I sent her affirmations and I asked her to send it to me in her voice, and I made it into a meditation and I sent it back to her. And I asked her to listen to it every single night before going to bed. And in the beginning, she said that it was really hard for her because she didn't really believe any of these things that she was saying to herself. But I asked her to stick with it, and just after 1 week she messaged me saying it has really helped her so much. So if you're really starting out on your confidence journey, I would really recommend you to make these affirmations and stick to it at least for 1 month. You will start seeing the change. So that's everything that I wanted to talk to you about in this video. And if you're still here till the end of this video, I want to tell you that I love having you here. I read all the comments and responses to my videos. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video next week. Until then, bye-bye.